MOBC, my own boxing community. Please like, share, and subscribe. This video is opinion based. This is my opinion and no one else's. That's it. Point blank, period. This is my opinion. Remember, everyone out there, ATG, the acronym for all-time great, is an opinion. Okay? It is subjective. In today's boxing world, boxing fans have been using the term ATG very loosely. In fact, GOAT, the acronym for GOAT, greatest of all time, has been used very loosely. In fact, pound for pound, the term pound for pound has been used very loosely. And at some point, boxing fans have to make up their minds. How many ATGs are we going to have? How many? How many all-time greats are we going to have in this era? How many GOATs? How many greatest of all time are we going to have in this era? How many pound for pound fighters are we going to have in this era? I'm starting to notice a pattern that people are having 5 fighters, 10 fighters, 15 fighters in a pound for pound list. Meaning that if that fighter, pound for pound, you can use his skills and defeat anyone in any weight class based on the skills alone. So if there's 15 fighters in a pound for pound list, then who can beat who in that 15 fighters list? Salute to my brother Bruce. Bruce Gas in the building. Everyone subscribe to Bruce Gas, Boxing, Jazz, and more. Please subscribe. Now, have on your list. Salute to that guy. Big ups, salute. Big ups, that guy, salute. If I was to come up with a list of pound for pound fighters, I'm going to pick one. Because when the pound for pound title first started, and it started with Ray Robinson, he was the only one. He was the end all be all in that time as pound for pound fighter. Okay? They didn't have any other fighters on that list. It was only Ray Robinson. And in today's boxing world, because of social media, because at the end of the day, social media is the new boxing outlet. It is the new place to go for boxing news. It is the new place to go for boxing talk. Because unfortunately, there isn't a lot of channels out there or sports outlets that only speaks on boxing, right? It's like ESPN. They have a football show. They have a basketball show. They have a baseball show. But they don't have one for combat sports. They just sprinkle it in when there's a boxing event. Let's say ESPN. Okay? So YouTube is the place that we all go to speak and talk boxing. And in these channels, most of the time, these channels, when it's time to talk about pound for pound or ATG, they have a whole list a whole variety, a whole plethora of fighters on the list as a pound for pound or an ATG. Some fighters are considered an ATG and they're still active. You cannot be labeled an all-time great until you retire. Then we can go about what your career looked like. Now, I've sat and I've watched a lot of videos on this topic with Usyk, okay? I've watched Timothy Bradley's video. And I've watched channels, I'm trying to say it in a nice way. I watched the channels that are primarily, quote unquote, I would say, they only speak on American fighters. Let me just say that, right? I watch those channels. And I also watch the channels, some channels where they're European fighter bias, okay? So I watch American bias channels and I watch European bias channels because I kind of wanted to get the idea of what everyone was talking about. And then, of course, I watch the regular channels, the channels that I watch on a regular, because I don't watch those European-based channels where they're just biased for Europeans and then the biased channels for Americans. I don't watch those channels on a regular. I'm only subscribed to real boxing channels. One of those is Bruce Gass. That's a real boxing channel. When my brother Jedi is doing boxing talk, that's a real boxing channel. Red Glove Militant, that's a real boxing channel. 86 Boxing, Scrapbook Boxing, Random Acoustic Thoughts, Boxing Librarian. Those are all 10 players. Those are all channels I consider real boxing channels. But for this topic, I took the time and I, while I'm exercising or while I'm cooking or cleaning, whatever, I listen to these boxing channels. And on one side, you have a group of people denouncing Usyk as being an ATG for silly reasons, right? Silly reasons. Reasons like he didn't fight Wilder, or reasons why, how come he's not fighting Bacoli is just now getting his name in recognition, so that wouldn't fight. How come he's not fighting Zhang? How come he's not fighting Parker? Parker has a fight coming up with Dubois, so he wouldn't fight Parker. He wouldn't fight Parker right now. Wilder just lost. He wouldn't fight Wilder. See these silly reasons why he's not ATG. And then you have the European side. Now, I know that some of the American-based boxing channels can be silly, can be inappropriate, and just darn right, just out of whack. Just like, what are you guys talking about? But I see the same thing with the European fanboys. I see the same thing. Ridiculous things like Triple G is better than Marvin Hagler. Madrimov, is one of the best 154 fighters they've ever seen. Like ridiculous things like that. It's like, okay, Madrimov, you went 12 rounds with a 36-year-old who fought at 154 for the very first time. Now you're one of the best 154-pound fighters ever that you've ever seen? That's what I'm talking about, those channels. So I'm sorry being long-winded. So I listen to these channels. And the European side, they say ridiculous things as well. That Usyk is the best heavyweight that they've ever seen, ever, and he could beat every single heavyweight because he beat a 280-pound heavyweight. Usyk is the greatest cruiserweight of all time. Better than Evander Holyfield because he beat Gassiev, the scary Gassiev, who I don't even think has a better resume than Britis. I don't think he has a better resume than Marco Huck. I mean, Marco Huck was the OG when he fought Usyk. So gassy off. So this is what I'm saying. Like I know that Usyk fought in a Super 6. And after Holyfield, there hasn't been, that I know of, a Super 6 tournament after Holyfield, way until Usyk fought. So Usyk is a two-time undisputed, two-weight class undisputed champion. And I'm not going to say that old 4-belt era, 3-belt era, whatever you guys want to call it, 4-belt era. I don't care about that. I don't care about 4 belts. I don't care about 1 belt, 2 belt, 3 belt. Undisputed is undisputed. The difference with back in the days is, because it was 1 belt, the difference back in the days is you had to go through the trenches to get to the point where now you're fighting for an undisputed title. You don't do that now. Usyk didn't go through the trenches. Okay? He didn't go through the trenches. Okay? He fought an arguably not the same fighter in Anthony Joshua. Okay? He fought Chisora. He fought Dubois. Then he fought Tyson Fury. That's not going through the trenches. 1-2 kid salute. Oh man, my bro. Oh, hold on. I gotta make my bro 1-2 kid a moderator, because he's definitely moderator. Salute 1-2 kid. So Usyk didn't go through the trenches. Now, Timothy Bradley said he only had 5 fights at heavyweight. And that is a fact. There's nothing wrong with what Timothy Bradley said, okay, guys? That's a fact. Usyk fought 5 heavyweights. 5 of them, out of the 5, he fought twice. Anthony Joshua, Tyson Fury. At cruiserweight, he defended his cruiserweight title 1 time against Tony Bellew. I believe a former light heavyweight. Okay? At heavyweight, he didn't defend his title. I don't know. I don't follow the politics of the belts, but IBF took his belt. So when he fought Fury, that was just a rematch. That was just a rematch. Fury trying to get his get back. It wasn't even an undisputed fight. It wasn't even an undisputed defense. Okay? So Usyk has become an undisputed heavyweight and has never defended his title at being undisputed. I say this time and time again. Crawford is one of the best fighters today, but he didn't defend his undisputed title at 140, and he didn't defend his title at 140, undisputed title at 147. I look into those things. So when I see those things, because he became undisputed, that doesn't mean you put him next to fighters, like Emil Griffith, to fighters like Ray Robinson, when he fought at 147, Sugar Ray Leonard. So many welterweights is crossing my mind right now because, but I could name so many. So because of that, I don't like the idea of a fighter winning a belt or becoming undisputed and then leaving the division and not defending that title, not establishing the dominance of being an undisputed fighter or being a champion. This is why I don't agree with this whole 4-belt era. It's harder with a 4-belt era. You could win a title now, become a champion, and then you could leave that division and then go for another title. But you leave that division not fighting the other champions or not fighting the other contenders. And that is the difference between today and back in the days. Because back in the days, those fighters fought for the most part everyone that they could possibly can. And there is no fantasy matchups from back then because most of those fights happened. Right? I know that we didn't get, like, let's say we didn't get a we didn't get a Carmen Basilio versus Jake LaMotta. That would have been a hell of a fight. You know, some fights did slip through the cracks, but for the most part, everyone fought everybody. And we know who won and who lost. Not like today's standards. Well, Triple G didn't fight Martinez, or Triple G didn't fight Laura. So therefore, even though he didn't fight him, we think he could beat him. So we're going to give him credit for beating him, even though he never beat them. UGC Flames, salute. Perfect timing, Danny Jacobs' voice. Happy New Year. Happy New Year. Happy New Year. You know what I'm saying? So today's fighters, we give fighters credit for not even making fights. And that's what's going on with Usyk. See, Usyk is still an active fighter. He's not going to retire, but I know a lot of you Usyk fanboys want him to retire. This is why there's key points that you guys say. One of them is he could retire today and he will be an ATG. If Usyk retired today, he could be an ATG. And just like Triple G, you guys will say this. He doesn't need to fight Piccoli. He could beat Piccoli anyway. He doesn't have to fight Parker. He could beat Parker anyway. He doesn't have to fight Zhang. He could beat Zhang anyway. He doesn't have to fight Agjaba because he could beat that guy anyway. Is that how boxing works? Oh, I think that Usyk could beat Zhang, therefore he don't need to fight him. It's crazy how boxing fans work today. I remember when you said you was gonna do this on Boxing Librarian's channel. Salute Dante Lane. We didn't get a Prime Hopkins versus Tony. Exactly, like I said, some fights slip through the cracks. I'll touch on that topic real quick. With the Hopkins and Tony incident, because Tony and like Roy Jones moved up to 168, Bernard Hopkins, the king hugger, the king elbow, dirty fighter, decided to stay his big old butt down at 160. Pre-weight bully term. That's why that fight didn't happen. Had he moved up to 168, we probably would have got a rematch between Hopkins and Roy Jones. We would have got a dream fight between Tony and Hopkins. We probably would have got Hopkins, because keep in mind, Hopkins in his 50s. We could have got a Hopkins in Nigel Benn, in Eubank. We could have got a Kawasaki, right? We didn't get, in like a more prime years. We didn't get that because Bernard Hopkins, the weight bully, wanted to stay at 160 and live off of two welterweights in Trinidad and De La Hoya. So that's why that fight didn't happen. But you're right, 1-2 Kid. Salute Charles D. But you're right, 1-2 Kid. Absolutely. We did not get Hopkins versus Tony, and that would have been a good fight, and I would have picked Tony to win that fight. So back to Usyk. You can't just say, oh, he's an ATG because he did everything. He did everything. Okay, well, let's talk about everything, because now I'm about to destroy all you Usyk boxing fanboys. Okay, you ready? I'm about to destroy y'all right now. So let's talk about it. Tyson Fury. Boom. We'll start from the beginning. Deontay Wilder, okay, we all know, isn't that skilled, only has a right hand. Boom. What did you guys say? A lot of you Usyk fans, because the thought of Tyson Fury and Usyk, you guys thought it was never going to happen. So this is what happens. Boom. Y'all talk about y'all talk about Wilder. Talk about how bad he is. Talk about his resume. Talk about the only person he beat that's good is Luis Ortiz, who was 63 years old. All right? You talk about how the limited skills that Wilder have, right? You do all this and that, And then Fury has 3 wars. Well, 2. The second one wasn't a war, but the last one was a war. Fury has a struggle to win the first fight. I thought he won, but he struggled to win the first fight. Then he won the second fight. Then he dominated the third fight, but he was falling all over his butt in the third fight. Against what? A non-skilled, no legs having Wilder. This is what you guys are saying. Okay? The same Fury who got beat up by that other kid. I forgot his name. What's the name? What's the name of the kid that whooped on Fury? Busted his eye open. Fury, best win on his resume, guess who? It's Deontay Wilder. It's not Dillian White. I mean, if you want to say he beat an old Vladimir Klitschko, I'm talking about prime fighter. Prime. The best win on Tyson Fury's resume is Deontay Wilder. The best win on Usyk's resume at heavyweight would obviously be Tyson Fury. So if Tyson Fury is the best guy that Usyk beat, does that really say much? When Fury best win on his sorry heavyweight resume is Deontay Wilder. Now, we got to make this make sense, boxing fans. How can you say that Usyk is an ATG fighting only 5 heavyweights and the 2 guys on his resume are 2 guys that you European boxing fans clowned on before the thought of Usyk was ever going to fight them? Because I saw the videos when Anthony Joshua lost to Andy Ruiz. All you European boxing fanboys clowned and tried to take Anthony Joshua's spirit out. Y'all took him out. Said he was slow. Said he was robotic. Said he had no chin. Even when he rematched Ruiz, you still clowned him. Said he was running. Said he was scared to get hit because he had no chin. And the minute that Usyk beats him, he is the greatest heavyweight today because he beat Anthony Joshua, who you guys just clowned previously. Stop playing with me, you European boxing fanboys. Stop playing with me. Because you European boxing fanboys is just as bad as them biased channels out there who are only pro-American. It ain't no different. Yes, right. Otto Wallin whipped Tyson Fury's butt all across that ring. And y'all know that it was that Fury struggled, almost lost in the third fight to Wilder. It came down to who got more stamina. The bigger man won. You understand? And this is coming from somebody who picked Usyk to beat AJ twice, who picked Usyk to beat Fury twice, who picked Usyk to beat Chisora, who picked Usyk to beat Dubois, who picked Usyk to win this to win the cruiserweight tournament. So don't sit here and tell me that I'm hating on Usyk. I watch my boxing. And the reason why you boxing fans today start talking about, well, no heavyweight in the past beat somebody as big as Fury. And no fighter, he was 280 pounds. The only reason why you boxing fans today run to the size of Fury is because you got nothing else, because y'all know that this heavyweight division is garbage. I'm sorry for being so passionate about it, but y'all know it's garbage. You cannot tell me that this division is better than the heavyweights of the 70s, of the 60s, of the 90s. Arguably not even as good as Vladimir Klitschko's run. Don't play with me. So now you guys go by size. Oh, well, Chisora is bigger than Ron Lyle. He's bigger than Shavers, so he could beat them. Let me tell you something about the fighters today and the fighters of the past, and who could beat who and who could beat who, all right? Because I'm about to dead that right now. You could say Usyk could beat Mike Tyson. You could say that Usyk could beat Tim Witherspoon, Michael Dokes, Mike Weaver, Randall Tex Cobb. You name it. You could name any heavyweight you feel Usyk could beat. And guess what? You'll never be able to prove it. You'll never be able to prove it. There is no, I think he could beat Joe Frazier. I think he could beat Ken Norton. I think he could beat Jerry Quarry. I don't know if Usyk could beat these guys because he'll never fight them. Just like I don't know if Sugar Ray Robinson could beat freaking Oscar De La Hoya at 147 because they'll never fight. But what is a fact is Muhammad Ali cleaned out his division, fought the best that there is, won and lost. Lennox Lewis cleaned out the division, fought the best there is, won and lost. Mike Tyson won the tournament, cleaned out the division, took some L's, and so on and so on. That's a fact. In a stacked heavyweight era. But if I'm supposed to believe that because Tyson Fury is 280 pounds, he would beat every single heavyweight in the past, didn't he just lose to a damn cruiserweight? Don't play with me, you stupid boxing fans out there. I'm tired of y'all. Because contrary to what y'all believe, when it comes to these all-American channels that be sounding racist, you European boxing channels sound just as racist. You try to undermine the accomplishments of past fighters to big up the fighters of today. I've seen it. I've seen it with Triple G. That's why I use Triple G as a perfect example. I've seen channels out there try to dismantle Marvin Hagler's resume. Try to talk bad about Marvin Hagler's resume. And Marvin Hagler don't have no silly people on his resume like the ones Triple G got on his resume. Don't play with me. Don't sit there and play with me. So I don't want to hear that. Right. AJ has a better resume than Fury. And Klitschko, Parker, Ruiz, Martin, KO, Wilder. Fury got Klitschko, Wilder twice. Yeah, and that's the thing. I give credit where credit is due. Okay? I give Fury all the credit in the world for beating an old Vlad. But keep in mind, when he first beat old Vlad, there was a lot of people undermining that win. Now, all of a sudden, now that Usyk beat Fury, they go back to that win. Well, he beat Vladimir Klitschko. He was the best heavyweight because he beat the reigning champion, an old. So if you're going to give credit to Fury beating those old Vlad, make sure you give Rocky Marciano his credit for all the OGs he beat. Because a lot of boxing fans out there won't give Rocky Marciano his credit where credit is due. And like you guys say, you only fight who was there, right? You only fight who was there. Rocky Marciano fought who was there. That's what Usyk is doing now, but he's not fighting all who was there. Okay? So I don't want to hear that. Now, we're going to talk about, well, Usyk had to do it in so less fights. All these other heavyweights in the past had to have all these other fights, excuse me, to become a champion or become undisputed, whatever the case is. Then then you lose the argument. Because now you're saying that he didn't fight anybody. You're saying it in that comment. Yeah, I know he only had to do it in 5 fights. Technically, 4 fights. I know he had to do it. But that means he didn't fight a lot of people. I'll say it again. The more you fight, the probability of you taking an L becomes higher. Munguia is a perfect example. Fought 4 times this year, lost twice. Everybody's always an upset. It's an upset. That's what happens when you fight a lot. The more you fight, the higher the chances of you losing. That's how boxing works, guys. The less you fight, the lesser the probability of you losing. I'm one of them guys who wants to see fighters fight more often. I felt like that. That's why I had arguments with people. I had Inoue above Crawford because he fights more than Crawford. How can I put Crawford above Usyk when Usyk is a more active, when Inoue is a more active fighter? That's not how it works. And let me tell you, I only have one pound for pound fighter on my list. And that's Inoue. I don't need 5 or 6 people on my pound for pound list. I don't need to. One fighter. I believe when it comes down to skills, punch placement, footwork, defense, I think Inoue is the most skilled fighter active today. But that's my opinion. I'm not wrong. I'm not right. You feel me? The 90s had 7 heavyweights, Hall of Famers: Moore, Holyfield, Tyson, Lennox, Holmes, Vitali, Foreman. Even the contenders were killers: McCall, Mercer, Larry, Donald, Bruno. Exactly, Dante, Lane, exactly. Great comment right there. You feel me? That is a great comment. I'm going to pin that. I'm pinning this comment. How many Hall of Famers are we going to have when this era is finished with? Do Fury really need... Do y'all think Fury's a Hall of Famer? In my opinion, the only Hall of Famer at heavyweight today is Usyk. I don't think AJ would be Hall of Fame. I don't think... Well, it remains to be seen. But for now, I don't see AJ being a Hall of Fame. I don't see Fury being a Hall of Fame. Maybe, depending on what he does in his career, when it's all said and done, maybe Dubois, I don't know. But we're not going to have that many Hall of Fames nowadays. You think Wilder is a Hall of Fame fighter? Come on, let's be real. Is Fury really a Hall of Fame fighter? Do y'all really think he's a Hall of Fame fighter? I mean, the Hall of Fame is watered down. So I don't know. But when it comes down to it, is Usyk an all-time great? Is he an all-time great? Well, it's opinion-based. If you feel like he's an ATG, you're not right, you're not wrong. If Timothy Bradley feels like Usyk is not an ATG, he's not right, he's not wrong. It's his opinion. It's his opinion. I know for a fact that when Usyk retires, he definitely will go into the Hall of Fame. Of course. Two-weight division undisputed champion. Of course. But that doesn't equate to being an ATG, because they run to that. They say, oh, well, he's an ATG because he's an undisputed champion. Well, how many of y'all feel like Corey Spinks is an ATG? Anybody in the chat, if you're still there, do y'all think Corey Spinks is an ATG? Guess what? He was an undisputed champion at 147. You know who else? Well, the last undisputed champion before Crawford, the guy who beat Corey Spinks, Zab Judah. Zab Judah was the last undisputed welterweight champion. Do you guys consider Zab Judah an all-time great? Do y'all consider Corey Spinks an all-time great? So just because you become an undisputed champion doesn't mean that you're an all-time great. It doesn't. But we got to stop this. Oh, I feel like Usyk would beat the fighters Mike Tyson fought. I feel like Usyk would beat the fighters Muhammad Ali fought. I feel like Usyk would beat Tyson. He would beat Sonny Liston and Holyfield and George Foreman. So therefore, he's an ATG. That's not how it works. You don't give hypothetical. You give a fact. And the fact is, yeah, he's an undisputed champion. But there's also a fact that he didn't defend his undisputed title. What is a fact is he doesn't have a Lennox Lewis type resume at heavyweight, a Holyfield type resume at heavyweight. He just doesn't. That is a fact. So the mystique is, well, you want him to retire so he can be undefeated. But you guys are the same guys who said undefeated doesn't mean anything. That's what you said about Floyd. That's what you said about Rocky Marciano. Now all of a sudden it's going to mean something if Usyk retires undefeated. You don't give credit where it doesn't take place. So I want everybody to know, is Usyk is Corey Spinks an ATG? Zab Judah has a better resume than Oleksandr Usyk, and I will debate anybody on that. Zab Judah has a better resume than Oleksandr Usyk. That's a fact. Miguel Cotto, Amir Khan, Floyd Mayweather, Costa Tszyu, right? Paulie Malignaggi, Corey Spinks, you name it. Just schooled Mickey Ward. His resume is stacked. Is Zab Judah an ATG? I mean, if he's an ATG to you, then that's fine. Because there is no wrong or right. Pound for pound, an ATG is subjective. It really is. It is subjective. But I'm not going to sit here and converse with a boxing fan that wants to undermine the past heavyweights because you guys know that the resumes are stacked for Muhammad Ali. The resume is stacked for Holyfield. The resume is stacked for Jack Johnson, Sam Langford, Gene Tunney, Joe Louis. These guys got stacked resumes. But you want to undermine their accomplishments and big up Usyk because he fought a guy that's 280 pounds whose best win is Deontay Wilder. But 4 or 5 years ago, you guys was calling Deontay Wilder a bum. 4 or 5 years ago, you guys was saying Anthony Joshua was robotic. He got no chin. And now that Usyk beat him twice, Anthony Joshua is one of the best heavyweights in the world today. Can y'all make up y'all mind? Usyk just hit his 24th fight. How many title defenses at heavyweight did Joe Louis have? Almost close to this damn number because I can't remember off top. But because you know that Joe Louis got an accomplishment that Usyk will never break, you run to, well, I feel like Usyk could beat Joe Louis, so therefore he's above Joe Louis. Excuse me, they'll never fight. If you could prove to me that Usyk could beat Joe Louis, let me know when they fighting. Can you prove it? Can you prove to me that Usyk could beat Max Schmeling? Prove it to me. When are they going to fight? Prove to me that Usyk could beat Primo Carnera. Tell me. I don't want to hear, oh, Primo Carnera could do this, and he's slow, and he's, he's big and heavy, but he's slow, and he's robotic, and he has telegraph punches. Usyk has good footwork. He's going to give him angles, blah, 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 blah. I don't know if, because they'll never fight. I don't know what Usyk could do in a time where the ring is smaller, the gloves are smaller, same day weigh-in. I don't know if he could beat Primo Carnera because they'll never fight. That's right, Dante Lane. Thank you. 25 title defenses. Joe Louis has more title defenses than Usyk has professional fights. And I'm supposed to sit here and say Usyk is automatically an ATG? Oh, of course. The European boxing fanboys are going to say Joe Louis fought bums. Of course they're going to say that. Oh, he fought bums, the bum of the month, blah, 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 blah. Then I want to see Usyk fight 25 bums. Because contrary to what you believe, it's very hard, very, very hard to fight at the level in the amount of times that they fought back then and continue winning. Sometimes fighters fought 6 times within 4 months. Today, you're lucky to get one. Crawford fought once last year. Tank Davis fought once last year. I don't want to hear that talk about this bum of the month stuff. Because if it was that easy, would you guys can't even do it today. Ezra Charles is a Hall of Famer, and so is Walcott. 100%. 100%. Usyk whooping on everyone is fans' dreams. Exactly. That's what I'm saying. I don't know. Just like I don't know if Sugar Ray Robinson would beat every welterweight ever. Because it'll never happen. But he did go undefeated with that 70, 90-something fights in a row. I seen a video where the guy said, what does Usyk have to do? He got to fight bums to prove to you guys? No, he doesn't have to fight bums to prove to us. He doesn't have to fight bums to prove to us. Because I guess Cherik Chisora is just enough. Huh? Who's that other guy that he fought after Cherik Chisora or right before Cherik Chisora? I can't even remember the guy's name. It wasn't Tony Bellew. It was somebody else. But I do remember the videos of AJ being robotic and having no chin. Tyson Fury having no stamina, being fat and out of shape, being clumsy, having bad knees. I remember all those videos. But now Usyk got those victories over these two guys, and you guys are considering him an ATG. Oh, yeah, that's right. It was that Witherspoon dude after Bellew. And don't get me wrong. I thought that Bellew was to me, that's a good win. I don't see nothing wrong with Bellew was good. Bellew's a good fighter. I thought it was hilarious when him and David Haye fought. It's to me, it's a good win. And I don't have a problem with Usyk moving up to heavyweight, after the Bellew fight, because he did what he did. He became a champion. But now you gotta, you still active, so you gotta keep fighting or retire. It's just like my old video. I made a video about Lomachenko. You guys are calling him the GOAT. But he got like 23 fights or, 21 fights with 3 losses. But he's a GOAT? Yeah, I don't know what the standards are today, but I know that the standards today have gotten lower. They've gotten lower. They have. They really have. And like I said, my channel, the MOBC, Bellew beat Haye 2 times, but Haye has surgery on his foot, I think. Yeah, Haye always having some type of thumb or a toe problem or whatever. Shout out to David Haye, man. I think a young Haye would have beat Bellew, though. And a young Haye at cruiserweight versus Usyk would have been a heck of a fight. I don't know who would win that, but it would have been a heck of a fight. Heck of a fight. But everything now is watered down. Like I said, I've seen videos where people were saying Madrimov is one of the best 154 fighters that they've ever seen. Only because he gave Terence Crawford, who never fought at 54, and is 36 years old, going on 37. I'm supposed to believe that Madrimov is like better than Mike McCallum at 154, better than Terry Norris at 154, better than Julian Jackson at 154. The talented kid that Julian Jackson KO'd, I forgot his name. That one kid from the UK, super talented fighter. Madrimov's supposed to be better than that guy? Is Madrimov even better than Charlo? Charlo he didn't even lose his title at 154 yet. Technically, he should still be the king at 54. But everything now is so watered down. Yeah, he beat the crap out of Valuev. Yeah, I thought Holyfield beat Valuev too. Nobody was saying anything about Madrimov. They said he was a cherry pick. I seen those videos too. I seen, unfortunately, a lot of people didn't watch Madrimov fight before. For me, I'll have to admit, the only time I did watch Madrimov fight was the fight that was on the undercard on one of those Riyadh card. That was when he won the title. That was my first time seeing him. So I'll be honest with you, I didn't think nothing of it. But if Terence Crawford was saying that he's one of the best out there and these fighters know more than us, he was right. I mean, yeah, Madrimov gave him a good fight. So he was right. Madrimov was great. He's a good fighter. I think he's a problem for a lot of these fighters today. I seen a lot. Yeah, I seen him once on the zone. Yeah, Madrimov is talented. He's definitely talented, and I think he could be a champion again. He could definitely be a champion again. It's a definite possibility. But I don't want to sit there and let these guys just undermine accomplishments from fighters back in the days, because it's not fair when these fighters today have more opportunities. They're making more money. They're not dealing with racism back then. They're not dealing with the color line. And even some of the fighters, the Jewish fighters back then had to deal with racism. Some of the Italian fighters had to deal with racism. It's a whole, every time was just different back then. You had to be strong mentally and physically back then. You know, you had to fight a fighter back then. There's no footage on this guy. If you didn't go watch him fight live, you don't know who you're fighting. Nowadays, you could study film. Nowadays, you got YouTube channels giving you film to study. He fought a dude and the knockdown was messed up for some reason. Yeah, I think I remember that. Yeah, you know, nowadays everything is different. It's easier. You got advanced supplements, advanced training, which I think advanced training is overrated. You got advanced training, advanced supplements. You got physical therapists. You got doctors. You got everything for you to be a top quality athlete. And yet you're only fighting once a year, twice a year. So does the MOBC feel that Usyk is an ATG? Well, he's still active because he hasn't signed the retirement papers yet. And I don't want to talk about if he retires. I'm going by what is now. No, Usyk is not an ATG, especially with Dante Lane reminding me that Joe Louis has more title defenses than Usyk has professional fights. So, is Usyk an ATG? In my opinion, my personal opinion, as of now, because he's still active, no, he is not an ATG. Now, when he retires, and if he was to retire now, then that's another video, that's another topic, that's another discussion to go for. Because then we would have to break down each opponent he fought. We would have to break down the amount of fights that he had. We would have to break down all of that. So I can't say what he is right now because he didn't retire. But for now, in my opinion, no, Usyk is not an ATG. But that's my opinion. And if you guys out there feel like he's an ATG, that's fine too. I'm not right or wrong. You're not right or wrong. I want to see Usyk fight Parker also. I'm actually picking Parker if he's fully trained and he's healthy, because he did have a couple of, those fights, right? He had some tough fights. If he's healthy, he has no knee problems, no shoulder problems. If Parker trains properly, get the right sparring partners, and I'm just gonna assume that's what he's doing, okay? I'm picking. I have Parker beating Dubois. I'm picking Parker to beat Dubois. I think smaller guys give Usyk trouble. Fighting punches bother him. Yeah. I mean, listen, right? The rumor is Usyk has a weak body. Okay? Mike Tyson, devastating body puncher, right? Ernie Shavers, good body puncher, right? Like, all of these guys, Rocky Marciano is a dangerous body puncher. Joe Frazier, Tommy Morrison. Like, there's so many fighters out there that's, like I said, it's just fantasy fights. I don't know if Usyk will beat all these guys. If you fight boxing fans out there feel like Usyk could beat every single fighter out there, hey man, so be it. You're picking Parker. Now that's interesting to take. Yeah, I got Parker to beat him. I picked Parker to beat did I pick Parker to beat Wilder? I think I did. I think I picked him on the last minute. I'm not sure. I know I picked Dubois to beat Jared Miller, and I picked Dubois to beat Herkovich. I picked Parker. Oh, no, excuse me. I picked Parker. I thought I underestimated Parker. I thought Wilder was going to beat Parker, but I picked Parker to beat Zhang after he beat Wilder. I think that's how it went. But I always thought Parker is an excellent boxer for today's standards. And I think that him and Usyk will be a heck of a fight, because Usyk will be fighting someone who could move well, who could box well. I thought Wilder was going to land that right hand, so I didn't think of... Yeah, me too. Because I think Parker was on a long layoff or something, right? Or something. I don't remember, but I do remember thinking Wilder was going to win that fight. I do. I remember picking Wilder to win that fight, and I was shocked that he lost, the way he lost. Parker, yeah. Parker either has a chin or Fury can't take a punch. Well, I am on record saying that I do believe that after the third fight with Wilder and Parker were not the same after that fight. I don't think so. I think they took everything out of them. And I saw that also, like, with the way Fury had lost to got beat up by Ottawa. Hey, but I gotta go, guys. Salute. Thanks for coming on. Antonio Mosley, thanks for coming on, man. Catch the playback, please. Everybody salutes.